what we call the NIPP of the Niger Delta Power Holding Company of Nigeria. Of course, that is why the governors are very, very interested, because that is a sector owned by both the federal government, the states, and the local governments. Carefully worked out measures are also being taken to address all other challenges, particularly the resolution of labor-related issues. In partnership with the labor unions, we have been able to come up with an outcome that is beneficial for all stakeholders. As earlier pointed out by the Minister of Power and the Vice President, the payment of all the labor-related benefits commenced in August this year and is almost concluded as a condition precedent to today's event. It's important to say to our labor partners, who we know to be patriotic Nigerians, that they should not notch a feeling of displacement, but dwell on the tremendous possibilities which the revitalization of the sector holds for them and indeed the future of this country. I thank them for their partnering with the government through the reform process and urge them to continue in this spirit for the greater good of all Nigerians.
The National Union of Electricity Employees of Nigeria have embarked on a warning protest against the handover of the privatized assets of PHCN to investors. At a protest in Abuja, the workers said their severance and entitlements should be paid before the handover. Holding placards with different inscriptions, the workers also warned the investors to stay away from the power installations for now until their demands are met.
Today's protest becomes very important, going by a federal government rigid position to go ahead to officially hand over PHCN to the investors without resolving all labor-related matters as recommended by Comrade Anson Somunu-led negotiating team in July 2012. As we are addressing you now, only about 25% of PHCN staff have so far received their severance package, yet federal government, through the Ministry of Power, addresses press on daily basis, making the world to believe that all labor-related issues have been settled. Information at our disposal was that arrangements have been perfected to retrench 50% of the present PHCN staff, even when they are yet to be severed. Is this reasonable? Unjustified? On the part of the government. Investors should for now stay clear from all PHCN installation because their safety may not be guaranteed industrially. Yes,
Well, to the foreign scene now. 9 days after the deadly attack on the Nairobi Westgate Mall, top Kenyan security officials are to be questioned by members of parliament about the alleged intelligence failings. The head of the Parliament's Defense Committee says people need to know the exact lapses in the security system. There are reports that the NIS intelligence agency issued warnings a year ago.
Some 67 people were killed and many injured after Al-Shabaab militants stormed the Westgate Center in the capital Nairobi on 21st of September. Al-Shabaab, a Somali Islamist group, said the attack was in retaliation for Kenya's military involvement in Somalia. Security sources also say that the militants hired a shop there in the weeks leading up to the siege.
And down under, the new Australian Prime Minister Tony Abbott is to begin a visit to Indonesia amid tensions between the two nations over his tough asylum policies. Jakarta says Mr. Abbott's policy of sending boats with illegal migrants back to Indonesia risks violating the country's sovereignty. Mr. Abbott is expected to hold talks with Indonesian President Susilo Bambang Yudhoyono during the two-day visit to the country, his first overseas trip since becoming Prime Minister. But the reality is that his meetings with the Indonesian president are likely to be overshadowed by his controversial asylum seeker policies. Hundreds of migrants have tried to reach Australian shores in recent years. Many of them head for Christmas Island, a remote Australian territory in the Indian Ocean.
On to our sports stories now. Nigeria's female national basketball team, the Tigress, has received praise despite, failing to qualify for the 2014 FIBA World Championship in Turkey.
That's right. Media officer of the Nigerian Basketball Federation, Patrick Omorodion, says that the performance of the women is commendable, judging by their inadequate preparations before leaving for the tournament in Maputo.
What happened with women, to me, is that they didn't prepare at all. You don't prepare for a major competition like that in 10 days and you expect to get good results. So, although the girls did their best, especially in the game against Mozambique, I think maybe the crowd and the politics of the game affected them. Otherwise, we'll have won that match and even qualified for the semi-final. But so I think a major problem with the federation actually is funding. But I'm telling you from what the president told me, that they didn't get half of the money they actually expected. So that was why the preparation was very happened that, and the players didn't really get allowances. Let me talk. They got daily allowance for the competition, but they didn't get anything for even winning those 4 matches they won in Cote d'Ivoire. And so I don't want to talk about women. I don't know what happened in Cote d'Ivoire and Maputo, but I didn't go there. But I'm telling you that the major problem we had was funding, and the federation wants better funding from the Sports Commission if they are presenting the country.
Well, it's a matter of if you fail to plan, then you plan to fail. The International Tennis Federation, ITF, has approved new time schedules for this year's Governors' Cup. The daily matches of the competition for the men and women's singles, as well as doubles events, will now run from 12 noon to 7 p.m. The new time is coming at the instance of the organizers that want Nigerians to have the opportunity of watching matches in the evening. Tournament director of the championship, Prince Wale Oladunjoye, confirmed and pointed out that the finals of the women's singles of both Future 1 and 2 have been scheduled to start by 3 p.m, while the men will play their own by 5 p.m. The 2013 edition of the Governors' Cup will serve off on October the 13th at the Lagos Lawn Tennis Club, Onikon. That's Game, Set and Match on Sports News.
And News Track. Thank you for watching. I am Adeshewa Josh.
And I'm Charles Aruka. Channels Beam is up next.
Hello there and welcome to another edition of the Channels Beam. I am Victor Matthias. In July, the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, declared a strike which will only end when the federal government satisfies its demands. 3 months later, this strike continues and students are forced to enjoy an unscheduled holiday. Between the interplay of demands, recommendations, offers and counter-offers by both ASU and federal government, one begins to wonder if the students are in the proverbial grass which suffers, when two elephants fight. Recently, students of the University of Lagos staged a protest within the